This hand goes Steerings for Broodscale and then goes turn to Saga. This seems very unreasonable, but I'll keep for science. Point Mulligans to 5. They like the map Talent Lotus deck. I would play it in the Giga Showcase if I qualified. But I failed. I lost a mirror. Champion of the Parish. I've never played a deck before. This is my first time basking. So no previous experience basking and root walling. Chose it's so brower. Plus 1 byku. Let's grab the onion ring. How does Broodscale win again? Continue watching to find out. Let that be your incentive. Meddling Mage. Point name the onion ring, which makes sense as it was the card I revealed. I guess I'll play my Saga into Malevolent Rumble, the best card ever. Needle seems fairly useless under Saga. Might matter, but it's not particularly likely. Blade lets me make a 2/2 construct next turn. And it lets me almost win if I draw a Broodscale. Temple for Commando. That was maybe a good idea. When did this deck pop up? There were 3 copies of this deck in the top 8 of the Showcase qualifier, which was crazy. But also it popped up a little bit before.
He's a phenomenal control player.
So see, I drew Eldrazi Temple anyways. Draw Silent Mode to find a lizard next turn. That sounds pretty bad to me. Both worse than making a construct and both worse than trying to kill a meddling mage with the command. Since they only have 2 cards in their hand, sacrificing a land seems far from ideal for villain. Got to dig here. The equipped creature is a vampire. This is the second vampire mentioning card that became popular in Modern recently. Really makes you think. I'll just pass so that we have options. Everyone dropped out of the prelim, it's over. MTGO prelims are an lost art. Never lost faith in the prelim. They do manually close it after 15 minutes, bro. I'm sure you are deeply aware of that. Satoru the Infiltrator. Interesting choice. Playing the Eldrazi Temple last turn was probably a mistake. A lot of options here, but I think I'll play it slow and put the most monsters into play.
He's a phenomenal control player.
Bought into Titan this week because of your streams. Thanks for the content. Change of pace this week?
Thank you for the subs. Frank, Dallas and Phoenix 47, change of pace. Perhaps, I don't know. So what do you mean? The fact that I am playing the Broodscale deck now? We are checking it out. Checking the vibe on it. Seeing how it goes. As it is the new hotness. Is this the madnessless or spike list? In fact, it is neither. I copied it from a tournament and made some random changes to my liking. But I guess it does make sense that it was a spike deck at some point, as every single one is. It's kind of funny how one single Saga checks the humans board. My opponent did not do much that was too powerful this game. For sure. They didn't actually even care about properly. They still only have 2 cards in hand, so they probably have to mulligan a bunch. They mull to 5, so I guess it is funny, but also not really all that much because they didn't do anything, so I didn't do anything either, so it makes sense that no one is advantaged. Well, I'm probably advantaged because of the cards in my hand, but you catch my drift. Channel this to gain 2. Probably bad because it's an artifact. So the blade triggers even when nothing equips it. That sounds like a great design. Alesha who laughs at fate. They draw a card now. Solid. Okay, so my understanding is that now I win. Nice. So humans deck contains humans cards, so we might want to remove them. I have Defense Grid, Dumping Sphere, Soulless Jailer, Spellskite. That doesn't seem exciting. Dismember is going to be able to hit Meddling Mage. We might board in the Wastescape Battlemage for being technically capable of interacting with creatures. I'll probably just click submit. The blue mana is not easy to come by. I actually have 2 sources, so it's a bit of an adventurous idea to try to bounce with it. Oh, 3 sources, I guess. Plus the sagas. Kanister, is this deck better than Amulet? Damn. There's nothing that I love more than a question like that. 0.003 seconds after I picked it up. Yes. Or not. Who knows. So I think I'll fetch Forest first because I want to play Saga on turn 2. Rumble. Steerings. Cavern of Souls in a human's deck. I guess it is a human. Makes sense, and you do play creatures, and you could use them having flying counters. Norin of the Worry, holy guacamole. Their Champion of the Parish and their Guide of Souls will go places now. Could play Eldrazi Temple, Kozilek's Command, Exile, Champion or Guide of Souls maybe, make a spawn or draw. Play Saga next turn. That sounds probably actually better. Let's make a spawn so we activate the drum. The ground creature feels less threatening as we are going to be able to block it. Walking Ballista seems potentially useful against the humans deck. It can even deal with Norin of the Worry, as abilities do not trigger it. It's cowardice. Is humans better than Amulet? Well, depends. Is it better than Amulet at gaining value from Norin of the Worry? Norin the Worry? Probably. Chose Bard for the Mockingbird. Mockingbird is a wild card because, while it's certainly solid, people like it in ways that I don't get. Let's exit the flyer again. Actually, the GTO move is going to be tap for green first, then make spawns and exile. Not spend my green, which I actually almost ended doing. Cast it, sacrificing the Scion because it's just free to untap my Scion, and by Scion I mean a spawn. I guess just spend 4 mana, keep 2 green. Rumble. Royal land doesn't matter probably much. Find the Blade of the Bloodchief and be ready to kill my opponent the next turn. That's my plan. Let me know if you find it sensible, chat. Black red. Alesha, who laughs. This deck does seem to have good card selection. I guess it does. Oh, I am card selecting. I'm card selecting so hard. It actually does, like the cantrips all dig deep and they're pretty good in the deck. I made 7-1 at 4 season Bologna this weekend with Broodscale. But now will become meta and people will know how to play against. Sad. People will know to kill Broodscale. Well, the fact that there was so many of them at the showcase, alone points towards the fact that it's actually just a powerful deck. And the combo does just cheap cards and I could say decent cards, but it is not true. Should I keep Forest, Saga, Land, Commando, Ballista? So I'll go Halfling. Turn 2 I'll go Kozilek's Commando, X1. This feels not powerful at all, but let's keep to understand the range of the deck fully. Everyone knows Amulet, but they can't beat it. Honestly, true. Great point, actually, so. I think I can play 4S because Halfling makes colorless, so I can cast Commando next turn anyways if it dies. Tamiyo is washed. Tamiyo is the best 1-drop in Modern Horizons 3. Sort of. This may be good to lead on Grove in case you draw Temple. If I draw Temple, I have colorless anyway, so doesn't seem important. I'll play the Urza Saga and I will kill the Tamiyo when they crack their clue. And I'll draw a card. Surveil. It's a little bit odd not to crack the clue, right? You'd think that drawing is better than scrying, but maybe they will spend their last mana on a Spell Pierce and I'll regret that. Cavern I don't necessarily hate, but it also doesn't really do much. Let's keep it for science though. After all, an uncounterable Glaring Fleshraker sounds like trouble. So this is a energy deck. So I think I would rather double Rumble than make constructs. Spellskite seems like the absolute solution to the Broodscale deck, given that the Broodscale itself costs 2 mana. What is there to be done from the Broodscale player's perspective? We are just checkmated. Holy shit, brain search. Tapping out. They cannot play Tamiyo and Wrath of the Skies, right? Pretty sure they can. I remember playing a deck like that myself. What's the best sideboard plan for Titan against Broodscale? Well, just play a couple of Dismembers and you will win. I probably don't make a construct because I just would like to hit the Broodscale. How have I liked the deck so far? It's been excellent against my round 1 humans opponent.
He's a phenomenal control player.
Good evening.
No i dupa. Which is what we say in Polish in Poland when we are in a tough spot. take my only spell. So can do some funny stuff with the Blade of the Bloodchief and the spawns. But what I think I'll do is I'll play Saga and equip the Blade onto the Fleshraker. Doesn't make sense to equip the Fleshraker. I would like to equip a bad creature, right? The spawns are the ones that are likely to die, so I'll equip the Halfling. Yeah. I respond to my players. Yeah, it will be high. 5 minutes late. 7 minutes late even. They tap 2 white, which means that a Wrath of the Skies is going to sweep my everything and I'll be in a rough spot. Wrath of the Skies seems challenging to beat. Perhaps. As it's an Urza Saga deck. I'm F6ing, so I am not even bothering sacrificing the Ballista. JTMS. Beating Wrath without ring. Oh yeah, ring is certainly good at doing that. I think I wasn't offered a ring in my steerings. So we just kind of had a lot of cards and nothing happened. And now it is too late. The Planeswalkers have taken over. Dobra, no przegrałem. Nie będę udawać. Consign the memory. 2 memory even. Sounds like a decent card against my deck. Is opponent on actual factual miracles? It is possible they played Terminus, but seems unlikely given that they played the other sweeper. Delighted Halfling looks actually pretty bad. It makes the ring uncounterable, so maybe that's okay. The Needle, the Mite, the Drum, all of those cards seem pretty bad. As well as Urza's Saga against the Wrath of the Skies. Let's try to limit my weakness to Wrath by trimming just down on a Saga. And the junky artifacts. Can maybe even board out an extra one. I think the deck is already low on lands. Well, good thing that Urza's Saga doesn't function as a land in this matchup, given that my opponent just sweeps it with their sweeper, so I'll just grab my lands with Ancient Steerings when necessary. Let's keep. Can play a counterable Fleshraker on turn 2 after a delightful Halfling, and they will take so much damage from the triggers, I bet. What decade would you say Magic Online will stop to look like MSXL? I think the look is going to stay. I think it's pretty... Well, like I agree that it looks dated and you could even argue bad, but have you actually ever launched Excel, my friend? Because it doesn't actually look like that. Let's play the Fleshraker into an island. I got co-signed to Memory. Sad. The financials of Modo are good. Daybreak might overhaul the UI at some point. Perhaps. I think I'll play the Boseiju and defense grid with the intention of playing Malevolent Rumble afterwards. If they counter my grid, then maybe I'll play the Broodscale. And next turn we can start studying the blade. Any reason for late hour stream today? I was planning on playing the Midnight Prelim, and I just figured, well, might as well stream it, and I launched the stream with 4 minutes to go with 9 out of 12 players ready, but it didn't fire. I might do a few more Midnight Prelim streams, actually, because I do play the Midnight Prelims pretty often. So I decided I might as well stream them, since I have proven to myself with the mock season that I am capable of winning still if I just apply myself to the cause and try so hard. Like now I might just stream more again. Unfortunately they swept my Broodscale, which is sad. No ta Walking Ballista to jest naprawdę wykurwista karta, nie? So good, bros. Walking Ballista jest zajebista. Lotus Cobra zawsze dobra. Another Boseiju. So I could play Blade, equip it, or just pump the Ballista. Pumping Ballista only requires me to not play any spells, and playing the Blade is free if I draw a land next turn. Because we're not skipping pumping. Unfortunately, villain utilizes their mana by casting a Brain Surge. An extremely powerful effect. Make your decision, villain. It's really important. It's not like you're going to instantly redraw the card anyway. How necessary are the free copies of Ballista? So what I've heard is that they serve a function of being incredibly strong against energy. With Blade of the Bloodchief, a single Ballista will defeat any amount of Ocelot Brides. In practice, I already crunch so hard drawing the Ballista and would enjoy drawing something with more individually redeeming qualities. So, good point. Now, if Walking Ballista was a vampire, I would understand. Should I shoot the Tamiyayo? Think so. Maybe. Letting them draw a card is like a time walk anyways, and I guess they get an extra turn. Technically. Alright, now we can draw the Broodscale to make a large creature, which actually doesn't even win. Two Bloodchief plates. Could have also drawn the Onion Ring, that would have been the best. Or Kozilek Commando maybe. Or Urza Saga, but I did that too myself. Well, here goes the Onion Ring. Sad. Song request, the reason they hate my daughters. Holy shit, that sounds rough. Maybe we should play World Breakers in the sideboard. It feels like this deck can produce a lot of mana and then not much happens. Kozilek's command is a good thing. But I also think I drew somewhat badly, and this deck also doesn't seem the best suited to fight off against control. But my opponent's bad blue-white control deck was just absolutely untouchable for me this much. I'll keep this hand on the basis of being interesting. Should I play the Halfling or the Drum, actually, which guarantees me the second mana next turn? I think the Drum looks better. I needed to fetch a forest for the Halfling to be playable. Cavern of Souls, so this is a so-called good matchup, chat. We are a simple 1 mana away from victory. Actually, no. We are farther away from victory. I am a Kozilek's command casting away from victory, I guess. Well, victory is saying too much maybe, but if I draw a Eldrazi Temple, we can cast a pretty neat Kozilek's Commando. Instead, we are getting even more rings. Fleage. Oh, I can still draw Eldrazi Temple. I can't. Impressive showing from my one-lander. So I have the Mite and the Needle, and they don't look good whatsoever again. I think we can board in the Spellskite. I guess it's a ring deck, so Mite is okay. Needle Ajani. Let's register the 60 once again. I think in theory it is okay against energy, so let's just try it again and draw a hand that makes sense. Or rather use the mulligan button if the game calls for that. Are we getting an early morning stream tomorrow as well? Depends on how early morning we are talking about. Okay, I have Ballista Blade. I spent ages mastering the blade while you were watching Twitch chat. Let's maybe stare. Tough decision. That's an argument against staring because I guess I could grab any of the cards and it would have been fine. Let's talk about how rigged your pay-to-win game is. Let me go ahead and create a deck, find an opponent, play a game. This opponent will be the exact counter to the deck I made. What the fuck? Do not play this game. Rigged equals no fun, waste of time. Let's say a Duress a Blade. I don't know what that means. Probably means that they can solve the other one. Can threaten them if we keep the blood in play, the blade in play and the Broodscale in hands. Okay, I guess we can win if I draw something. We can't win. Because you can play Ballista of X0, so I can make this Broodscale infinitely big. And I can gain infinite colorless mana, but then I have no Ballista. Does energy play Fail Push? Play Static Prison anyway, so... No Fail Push typically. Doesn't seem the greatest though to make a big Broodscale. Johnny can make a blocker every turn, so it's just kind of pointless. So since Ajani blanks the Broodscale, I'll look for alternative lines of play, which probably was going to be... Can be Ballista Equip, or Halfling Equip, or Halfling Ballista, or Halfling Broodscale. None of those look particularly good to me, and I don't know how to choose the one that yields the best win rate. Next turn I could play Ballista and equip it if I play the Halfling. So maybe I play Halfling and Broodscale and just, if they remove it, then let them remove it. But if they remove it with Ajani, that's really sad. Let's do it this way, but I'm mostly guessing, and this play feels fairly uninformed. Blocking the Cat Warrior would have been a really poor move, so let's avoid doing that. Bombardmento. Sure. I guess they can kill the Halfling. It requires them to kill off the cat. Okay. Sure. So it seems that if I play the Broodscale, they're in a really tough spot. Because I'll adapt. I could play a 0-cost Ballista and then adapt. Leave up adapting, then I guess I would actually kill them. That's true. As is, I guess they can shoot both creatures at this, but then Halfling kills the Ajani. Okay, just let it happen anyways. Curious. I guess we're taking advantage of our deck being still somewhat rogue. Now we simply produce 28 mana and shoot them. Alright, it seems like our deck is the best deck ever. If villain doesn't do much. Delighted Halfling is a pretty funny card in this deck though. Neither Halfling nor Ballista strike me as excellent cards that I'm really excited to play. Perhaps there exists something better. Or not. Oh wow, I want to keep all the cards. I guess I'll put back a Temple. Maybe a Saga. Kozilek's command X2 on turn 2. That seems better than Saga. Will we ever get a GTO list of this deck? Well, maybe. Thousands of chimpanzees are writing Shakespeare right now and tuning this deck as we speak, right? So one of them will hit the GTO list, whether you know it or not. Seems like I would rather play the Blade than not play it. Ayani is solid, a solid hit of the Raptor. Guess I will deploy the Fleshraker. Just to spend my mana, but if they get to flip a Johnny, the Fleshraker dies for free. Flash can hit their Cat Warrior. Hits my Fleshraker instead, which seems just bad. Hello, how is this deck treating you so far? This looks okay, although far from spectacular. Which is what I often say when I play a new deck and I'm not used to it and have no clue on what plays to make. Construct better than Ring on this turn. I think Ring would be better, but I also couldn't figure how to play it, so I ended up not doing that. So now we can get Mite. We got enough to Broodscale and Ring this turn. Well, this, yes. We can Mite, kill this. Second Blade to grow the construct. Well, they have protection and they... Oh, infinite tokens. And they're all gonna be infinite sized. I wonder if that's actually better. Also, the thing is that I need the Mite to actually kick things off. Not quite, I have the Temple. So it's pretty interesting because infinite. So I guess I'll only die if my opponent kills me somehow next turn, but how? Bombardment, sack, 1 damage, Johnny, 0, 2 damage. Well, it's missing a lot of damage, so sure, sounds pretty funny to do that, so I'll be at 10, I guess I have to fetch a green. I also have ring protection, so I guess it's even, they can't even kill me if they really wanted to. They would need to sweep the board. Now, how many monsters are we going to be able to produce? Actually, this goes here. And then I have like infinite size on everything if I want to. So let's make 20 tokens or so, and then we can grow 5 of them or something. That's my idea. Of going off. Villain could also stall the game by chaining the onion rings. Holy shit, Resident Sleeper. I can make 7 8s. That's good enough. Maybe even 4 5s. When GG's me, which seems like they agree with my domination. That was pretty impressive. It is very nice that the combo doesn't require the creature not to be summoning sick, and it's just composed of cheap cards, relatively cheap cards. So I guess there's maybe gonna be extra streams at this time, but it's not gonna replace the midday normal streams. I will keep begrudgingly. If opponent plays energy and their turn 1 is a monster, then my hand is pretty okay. Against that, I get to kill their monster, draw a card, Saga in play. Eldrazi Temple. Play the Saga. Exile, draw. Is another Saga really desirable? I do have mono lands. I think I would rather draw a spell. So I'll bottom it. Johnny Nakal Paraya. I wish I kept Saga if I knew my next card was a Wastes. I would certainly do that. Here I make sure that I can't Boseiju. Well, actually I can if I want to. Two Ajanis? That's crazy. What are you doing in Siberia? Living. That's extremely fair. Holy fucking shit. Could move the blade, I don't think I want to. Save my massive 4/5. It's going to help me survive until I draw the Onion Ring or Broodscale. Whoa. They chose to cast Static Prison over casting the ring. And then they had the ring, that's crazy. Yeah, I drew the ring myself. Johnny. Need to double champ to protect Ajani from death. But it seems like villain will do everything to protect Ajani. Nakatl Paraya. Two rings. First two Ajanis, now two rings. Villain is absolutely unpredictable. That being said, those League energy villains seem fairly unthreatening so far. Not Pariah, Avenger. Good. Still going to attack it, I think. Maybe actually it's pointless. Attack it with just a construct. Don't want the Ocelot Pride to attack unimpeded. Alright. They static prison my needle over my ring, that's fine. I'm also fine if they static prison my ring because I have the second one, but that's also fine. So they led on Ragavan and then Flash. I guess they're missing a card to escape Flash. What did Flash hit? Oh, face. Makes sense. A Johnny? Those are some crazy moves this game. Opponent. What a draw. What if I play my Fleshraker and my new ring to gain protection, but probably just want to draw 4 new cards next turn. I'm kind of scared, especially of Flash escaping. Random moves, but I'm not sure if deploying the Fleshraker actually helps. On the other hand, because Flage, Escape Flage, shoot the Fleshraker is kind of free for them. Maybe saving it for the next turn would have been more valuable, and then they wouldn't have a good target for the Flage. ETB and attack trigger through the Arena of Glory. Perhaps that was the case. It was perhaps not the cleanest played game, but also I didn't really have too many cards. I guess the more cleaner play could have happened just if I held my Fleshraker, but it's only that. Also, I do draw 5 new cards next turn, so there is some incentive to play out my hand. Yeah, probably no. Probably should have held it. Johnny. Now I turn off auto yields to prevent my opponent from gaining 3 lives. And once I untap and draw my 5 new cards, I hope they will be glorious. Drew another ring. Steerings. Kozilek's command, Kozilek's command. So if I play Fleshraker into Spawn's draw, X4. Want to keep green mana. Kozilek's command makes spawns and look. It's kind of a funny effect. Also funny with Fleshraker. Well, not green, not red, but actually green is what I'm looking for. All right. Another commando. Well, we can do ballista. Ballista thing. So we can do the thing, chat. Wow. For the ease of things, I guess I'll shoot a Johnny. I think we kill if my math is okay. I guess I put command on top and now I got rid of it. Sad. Passive attack for 7. I can even gain an extra ballista counter by throwing this one under the so-called bus. Should you not have rumbled first? Perhaps. But we do kill the villain with what we had on board anyway, so didn't seem quite necessary. But I guess your play would have been generally better. Agreed. It's the needle for Ajani's bombardment. Oh, it's not too bad. Let's not sideboard once again. Energy is such a funny deck. Now the blade. This is sketchy, right? Since it's sketchy, I guess I'll keep. But if my opponent plays a 1-drop, I'm actually in a tough spot. Guide of Souls. I guess I'm happier to see Guide of Souls than Temple. Also Pride. Trap and Charm. With my hand being this, I think I would like to kill, make a spawn other than draw. Maybe, maybe not. Whoops. Well, most assuredly I want to kill the Guide of Souls. Parlor, okay. Stony Silence. So if it comes to game 3, I guess I'll rethink my sideboard. So if I make a spawn, I go Fleshraker, Drum, 2 spawns, Drum to play the blade, sack spawn to equip a spawn. Seems like drawing is gonna be better. Kindred instant, Eldrazi. Let's put the blade on the bottom. The third one is maybe perhaps a bit much and not too good. That said, they surveil the Stony Silence and there is a chance they just have an extra one, which is gonna be good against my deck. Ocelot Pride, that's fine. You learned something today. The MOX event give invites to Vegas, not Chicago. So I don't think there are any pass downs in the leaderboard. That's crazy. Vegas? Well, that's like in half a year. Anyways, I will not need any pass downs to get there, so thank you for letting me know, but it's actually gonna be fine. Maybe like this. It is funny that Blade of the Bloodchief is from, I guess, Zendikar, no Rise of the Eldrazi, so it was not really meant to be played alongside the spawns, but kinda. Stony Silence resolves indeed. Sure. That probably means they board out rings. No, my Saga. Guess I'll draw. Not sure about that move. I can attack with the Fleshraker. Guess what I'm looking for is steerings for Boseiju. Keeping Elder Green is nice so that I can actually get a Boseiju and activate it immediately. Ragavan Nimble Pilferer, interesting. Oh no, they gained energy because I did not F6. Also, I didn't resolve the effects one by one, so They got even more advantaged. More energy. Guess I'm in an okay spot still. They don't draw anything good. They have some good draws, some bad draws. Let's see. Ether Hub is not a good draw. Grab Giganta is not a good play. I guess the only one for sure they have available, but yeah. Also, Terry Bud. Do you have a source on that actually? Because I tried to briefly learn which PD they qualified for, and I actually couldn't. One, two, three, four. Well, it's a lethal, maybe. I think it is not lethal. It would be if not for the Stony Silence, but Stony Silence existed. Well, I guess it is lethal still. The Fleshrakers. Because every token deals 2, and then it was 6 damage alone. Yeah, Fleshrakers in multiples. Maybe there should be a deck that plays Fleshrakers and clones them. What do you think, chat? Play Fleshrakers and Phyrexian Metamorphs, which are unfortunately not colorless spells, so they don't actually trigger each other. They have the Aspiring Spike avatar. True fans of Aspiring Spike. Okay, I'll keep this and put back a Steerings, I guess. Maybe the Rumble. But I think Rumble making the spawn might be better, worth more. Eldrazi Temple. Seems like I need to Pithing Needle, Blade of the Bloodchief instantly. Let's grab the Eldrazi Temple. But yeah, in MH3 Limited, there was a limited deck that used, well, a limited deck, Eldrazi decks that got Fleshraker, which I guess we know, and Echoes of well, the Kindred Eldrazi enchantments. Echoes of Eternity. So if you got that into play, you played a Glaring Fleshraker afterwards. You got 2 spawns, and each of them triggered the Fleshraker twice. So I think if you had Echoes of Eternity, and the turn after you'd play Fleshraker into Chrysalis, they just died. Way over, actually. They rumbled, they got a forest. I think in the mirror I can just play Broodscale. Friend had this in a large sealed event. Damn, surely they won, right? They lost in the finals. Damn. Crazy. Seems like they potentially have Kozilek's commando. Or do they? So let's count the Chrysalis damage. So you play Ecos, then you play Fleshraker. Fleshraker copies. So you copy spells and abilities, triggered abilities. So you have 2 Fleshrakers. Then you cast a Chrysalis. So you have 2 triggers that create 2 spawns. So each trigger deals 4 damage. And also you make 2 spawns and 2 spawns. 6, 8, 8, 8, 2. So you take 27 total from those 2 spells. That's brutal. Absolutely whack. They kill my Broodscale, which puts me in a tough spot. Take the Fleshraker as the card is the most fun. And if I die, I die. I don't care. Maybe let's take another Broodscale, try to win. Next turn. Maybe they will not have the blade. Maybe they have not studied the blade. Maybe they won't have the blade plus a land. Many outs that I can grasp onto. Oh, yeah. Might. That's awkward. Okay, so they clearly don't have another Kozilek's commando. So, since I drew a land, I can actually play the Needle on Mite. Play the Broodscale. Study the blade. You might think, kanister, you have no mana, what are you going to do? Well, I simply play 0 cost Walking Ballista. I'll kill my opponent by dealing infinite damage to them. Pretty cool, pretty neat stuff. Pretty nifty. Now, in the mirror, what is powerful? Probably not the Pithing Needle. Interaction seems valuable. You can board the Dismembers and the Wastescape Battlemages. Do I prefer Battlemages over Thieves? Hard to say, as I think I'll be boarding my Wastescape Battlemage for the first time so far. We can cut maybe the Halflings. They don't look so hot. In a rumble I brought non-creature spells. Thief was the Karntek. Yeah. Wastescape Battlemage looks tiny bit better overall. Karn the Great Creator could be an issue, so Thief exiles it. For the most part, seems fine. Maybe a Halfling is better than a Fleshraker on the draw. Perhaps. Keeping this seems okay. I'll hit a Broodscale with my steerings and the hand is gonna be somewhat okay. Pretty bad on the draw, actually. So perhaps should be mulliganed. Llanowar Reborn. What a card. I don't have a second colorless source. Not the best environment for taking the second Kozilek's command. I'll grab the Mite to play 2 spells. They got Eldrazi Temple. Could dismember the Mite or play my blade to feed it to the Mite. Oh no, graft triggering on every creature. I'll play the blade to feed it to my villain's Mite. I feel like this game might go a bit longer with the onion rings. Would rather not spend a dismember on the Mite to save a blade that's kind of useless. Okay, they stirred for a blade. Alright, Chad, I'm actually pretty sleepy right now. I really hope my opponent dies quickly so I can go to bed. Are you with me? Can you help me rooting hard against my opponent? Why night shift stream? For science. I guess is the only answer I can give you. Holy shit. I guess now I want to dismember the Mite. Maybe they'll graft onto my monster. I will lose to Broodscale, of course, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to take. Some of you will die. They revealed the blade earlier. You got me, bro. Your combo is crazy strong and I can't beat it. Let's actually have the halflings in the deck to power up the pace of my deck. We can board out a Ballista and a Fleshraker. I think the win con cards are not quite all that necessary. Maybe even the onion ring is not all that good, but who knows. Let's cut one of every card that I'm dubious about. Doubtful. Springleaf Drum continues to be the best card ever in my opening hand. I can even use it to kick my Wastescape Battlemage, which is beyond my wildest dreams and imagination. Neat. I'll special sound the Temple and play Red Ram, which means that if I draw a Saga, I can't play Broodscale. Which is perhaps a misstep. Can Broodscale and level it up or play a Fleshraker. Interesting. Can also double Broodscale, but it seems worse than leveling it. as there isn't necessarily much benefit from just having 2 ready there immediately. Fleshraker. This is interesting. I would want to avoid dying randomly. They have a temple in hand. Maybe a battle mage. Maybe a full kick battle mage. Send them back to the Stone Age. Attack them for free. Sounds good. Kozilek's Commando. I'll simply attack. Tutaj nie mieszka. Well, I'm probably pondering if they should fire off their Kozilek's Commandos and in what exact mode on my Broodscale. I hope they draw. Nice. I am glad to see that, because the extra spawns would, well, first indicate that their hand is better than it is, and then they would also indicate that I have to shoot my pants, and I don't like that. Could play Ballista for 0 and Broodscale, but I think that's a bit extreme. Maybe it's not though. Hard to say. Blade. Okay. Oh no. They have assembled the blade. They have studied it. So as long as they have a payoff card for their brute scaling, I am in huge trouble. Or perhaps even dead. Don't wanna click ballsy to play a combo deck then that requires clicking. But if I said I will concede, I will concede, as of course the idea is that you make infinite mana and search for a specific card from your deck. But it's fairly inconvenient to do so. Pretty interesting game, and it seems like Fleshraker maybe is not so incredible. I think this deck could be better at Fleshraker maxing. I wonder if more Springleaf Drums with how many Scions spawns this deck creates would be a better direction than the Halflings. Not impressed by the Halfling in general. Drum being fast mana and a great card to play on turn 1 if you are going to Rumble on turn 2. Talismans help you Fleshraker max. Perhaps Talisman, yeah, but I think I would head into the direction of Springleaf Drums at first. Although, note that I'm a big fan of Talismans in general. Also, imagine Glaring Fleshraker with a Shadow Spear. You gain 1 life every time you have a colorless creature.